Hi everyone. So today we are going to talk about the concept quantity theory of money. So the quantity theory of money is the major cornerstone of the classical economist. When we are talking about the quantity theory of money, before we understanding the concept, we have to understand the basic assumptions of classicals. The major and the very important assumptions of classical economists is first one is the Say's law of market and second one is full employment equilibrium. So the Say's law of market says the supply creates its own demand, which means whatever is produced by the firms, it will be consumed by the consumers. This is the first and most important concept of or the assumption of classicals. And the second assumption is full employment equilibrium. By the full employment equilibrium, they means there is always a full employment equilibrium. There is an invisible hand which is the market forces, demand and supply, which will always alters the market and keep the full employment equilibrium always. So we are talking about the quantity theory of money. First we need to keep in mind that the supply is always equal to demand or supply creates its own demand. Okay. And now, let's move on to the topic, the quantity theory of money. The quantity theory of money is otherwise known as Fisher's equation of exchange. So the concept is given by Irving Fisher in 1911 by his famous book, The Purchasing Power of Money. And the quantity theory of money, we can say that it's a pure demand theory. So, what we mean by the quantity theory of money? The quantity theory of money says, when the supply of money increases, the price level also increases and the value of money goes on decreasing. That is the major core of this idea. Once again, when the supply of money increases, the price level also increases and the value of money decreases. We have some assumptions. The first one is constant velocity of money and the second one constant volume of trade or transaction. Third, price level is a passive factor and the very important assumption that is money is the only medium of exchange. And finally, we know that the classicals always assumes long run. Okay, and now what the quantity theory of money actually says? We can understand the quantity theory of money by using an equation, the famous equation by Irving Fisher, that is MV equals PT. That is MV equals PT. So, what is M, V and PT indicates? For M is the money. M is the quantity of money in existence and V is the velocity of money. The velocity of money may be a new concept for you. So, the velocity of money is simply the average. Simply the average number of times a unit of money turns over. The average number of quantity of money or unit of money turns over. We know this is the quantity theory of money. So, we can understand simply that is M must be the quantity of money in existence. Okay. And the V is the velocity of money. So, what is the velocity? So, velocity is the average number of times a unit of money turns over. That is average number of times the unit of money turns over. So, M is the quantity of money in existence where V is the velocity of money. Now, this is MV is the first part and we are moving on to the second part, that is PT. So, what is P indicates? P means the average price level. So, T is the total number of transactions. So, the equation MV equals PT. MV is the first part and PT is the second part. So, we know that M is the quantity of money in existence and V is the velocity, where P is the price level and T is the number of transaction. Okay, so that's about MV is equal to PT. And now we have to understand what is MV and what is PT. So, when we are talking about the classical assumptions, we say that the Say's law of money, supply creates its own demand. So, we have to understand that the demand for money should be equal to the supply of money. So, this concept MV means the supply of money. So, simply the supply of money consists of the money in existence multiplied with the velocity of money. So, when we multiply the money in existence with velocity of money, we will get the supply of money. And now, so MV refers to the total volume of money in circulation, that is supply of money. And now what is PT? PT is the demand for money. So the demand for money is, how we can get the demand for money? By multiplying average price level with the total transaction. So PT denotes the demand for money in a market. Demand for money in a market. So PT denotes the demand for money in a market. So what is MV is equal to PT indicates simply the supply of money equates demand for money. That is MV is equal to PT. Supply of money is always equal to the demand for money. So we have discussed about the quantity theory of money by Irving Fisher. The concept of quantity theory of money, he used this equation MV is equal to PT to explain his theory. That is, MV can be said that the supply of money and PT is the demand for money. And the supply of money can otherwise call the total value of money expenditure in all transactions should be equal to total value of all items transacted. And now, the transaction approach of quantity theory of money maintains the relation between, there is a relation between price, money supply and the value of money. I have already said when the money supply increases, the price also increases. That is, there is a positive relationship. But when the price level increases and the money supply increases, the value of money gets decreased. So, that indicates a negative relation. So, we can say in another words, when the quantity of money doubled, the price level also doubled and the value of money will be halved. And another way is, in another way we can say that when the quantity of money is halved, the price level and the money supply will also get doubled. Okay, also get doubled. We can explain this concept by using a diagram. So the y-axis measures price level in the first part, and in the second part it measures the value of money, and in the x-axis, that is money supply. Now the initial price level we can draw like this. This is P and this is M. Okay. Now assume that the price level increases up to P1 or it is doubled to P1. See what happened? The money supply also increases to M1. And now assume the price level decreases to P2. See what happened? The money supply also decreases to P2. Okay. And now the initial price level was P and the money supply was M. And when the price level doubled, the money supply also doubled, and when the price level decreases, the money supply also decreases. And from this graph, we can derive the value of money. How? Just draw some dotted lines and just connect it. See, this is the value of money graph. What happened here? M, M2 and M1. This is value of money, right? So, V, V1 and V2. So, this is clear that when the price level is M, the value of money is V. When it is doubled, supply of money doubled to M1, see here the value of money decreases to V2. And when it is M2, that is a low level money supply, the value of money is at the highest. Okay, so hope you can understand this whole concept by using this diagram and the equation MV is equal to PT. And as we know, this concept is an important cornerstone of classical economics. Of course, there must be criticisms by the Keynesians. So, the important criticism faced by this theory are, first one is interdependence of variables, that is the variables M, V and PT is interdependence. But we know that all the times the variables cannot be interdependent. This is an unrealistic assumption. And the second one, the unrealistic assumption of long period. We says that the MV is equal to PT, and from this graph, when the supply of money increases, the value of money decreases and the price level also increases. But simply we have to understand this is actually a short run phenomenon, though not a long run phenomenon. In long run, all these problems will be generated, solved. In the long run, all this problem will be solved. So, this is simply a short run phenomenon, but in classical theory or quantity theory of money, they assume this is a long run phenomenon. So, that is the another criticism, and this is a static theory. In economics, we can't say anything in static, because economy is always ready to accept the changes. But so, because we can't say a theory in a static sense, but this is a static theory, this is not a dynamic theory, this is the another criticism. And and the final criticism is this theory is technically inconsistent. And the next criticism is it ignores the other determinants of price level. Actually, the price level, the determinants of price level is not only the money supply, but also the demand for the products and the demand for the products and the price of the another commodities and the taste and preference. There are so many another determinants for price level. So there are lots of another determinants for price level, but this theory says there is only money supply as the determinant for price level. So this is actually wrong. And when we going through the assumptions of this theory, the last assumption is that money is considered as only a medium of exchange. But we know that the money is not only as the medium of exchange, the money is also a store of value. So this theory ignores the store of value concept. We know that the functions of money, there is not only the medium of exchange but also the store of value. So this theory ignores the concept of store of value. So that's about quantity theory of money. Hope you all understand. Thank you.